Hi, it's Joe here from Joe's Country Junction. I am doing a different kind of video today. I am not doing a quilting video. I am doing a punch needle video. So lately on my blog, and my blog is joescountryjunction.com. You can just go there anytime and see what I'm up to. But on the blog there, I have been doing some punch needle, and I've gotten a lot of questions about it. So I thought I would just do a video and I would tell you all about my punch needle journey, and we could catch up and you could see what I'm doing and you could learn a little bit about what punch needle is. I have been doing it, I would guess maybe about 20 years ago I first tried it. There was a great quilt shop called Country Threads that was in Garner, Iowa. If you're a quilter, you probably know about them. They were just awesome, and they had a whole bunch of punch needle stuff there. And when they introduced it, I jumped right on the bandwagon and I gave it a try, and I really enjoyed it. But sorry, that's my dog. But when I was punch needling, I was also trying to quilt too. And sometimes it's hard to balance projects. And so I was doing a lot more sewing at the time and just dabbled in punch needle. And right now I'm still dabbling, but I'm having a good time and I have a little bit more experience under my belt. So about that time, I probably did 2 projects. I very much enjoyed it. For me, I was held up a little bit because of the process, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. First, I thought I'd show you a few punch needle things. Recently, I have 3 punch needle things that I've punched. My first one, this is Lovebirds, and this is by Teresa Kogut. And I turned it into a little heart like she suggested in the pattern. I have 2 other things that are punched, but they are not fully finished. I'm looking for the right thing. This was a Country Threads pattern. I don't think it's available anymore. So this was what I punched, and this is a good one to show you anyway. Okay, I think this is the top. Okay, so on this side, it's kind of plush, kind of like a carpet. You can kind of see how it's raised up, and it's plush like a carpet. But on the back side, it's like this. It's flat. See, there's no puffiness. See, it actually almost caves in. And so this is the piece that I had started way back and that I went back to and I finished up. And it's just a star, kind of a prim piece, and that was from Country Threads. I am looking for a box or a container or something that I can attach this to, so that gives me good reasons to go to the thrift stores, which I absolutely love doing. Okay, my next piece that I just finished punching is this. This was a piece I bought at the thrift store for 50 cents. And it wasn't started, and so that's the front part that you'll see, and this is the back part right here, and this is the side you punch from. I'll explain more about that later. But isn't that so cute? I've got a couple ideas for this right now. Just a second, I'm gonna grab something. I was thinking about putting it on this cheese box. You can see, and it would be folded up and it'll go like this. Proportionately, it's a little short for how tall the box is, so I was trying to think if there's something I could add to the top or the bottom to make it kind of balance out a little bit. We'll see. I can do that at another time, but for now I thought I would show you a few things and talk to you a little bit about patterns and how you can get a pattern. Oh, I have a couple more things. A blog reader, a super sweet blog reader, sent me some punch needle pieces that she had punched and she didn't want to finish. Well, I finished them because they are so incredibly cute. Here's one. I just attached it to this box. Isn't it cute? I love the texture of punch needle projects. And this is another one that I attached to this box like this. And look, aren't the colors perfect for being attached to this box? And in this box, I keep some wool projects that I have that I need to finish. I need to get them stitched. They're all ready to stitch down. I just need to get some time to do it. But it's kind of hard because my time away from the machine is spent either cross-stitching or now it's spent doing punch needles. So I haven't had time to do wool applique, but it's going to happen. I know it will. It just is a matter of time. So, okay, so now that I've shown you some punch needle pieces, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about how patterns might come to you. So, first, the thing that you will need is a punch. I use an Ultra Punch. It looks like this. An Ultra Punch will come with a needle threader that looks like this. It's just like a piece of wire, and it usually has a little tag attached to it because they're super easy to lose. And you'll need some kind of scissors. So that's the thing you need from there. This is the package that an Ultra Punch comes in. Over my time from my first beginning punch needle to now, I'm a big thrift store shopper, so I have been to thrift stores right and left, and I have picked up anything that I see that might be interesting for me as far as a punch needle project goes, because I knew at some point I'd be doing more punch needle again. So here are some patterns that I've either picked up or found along the way, or a blog reader gave to me. I have a lot more, but I thought I would just tell you a little bit about, oops, I bumped the table and the camera shook. Sorry about that. And tell you a little bit about the process of buying a punch needle pattern. So patterns come differently. So the thing that you punch on, this is called weaver's cloth. And over time, I have picked up some weaver's cloth at the thrift store, just because I see for punch needle and it says weaver's cloth on it, and it was 50 cents, so I bought it. You can get weaver's cloth on Amazon, and I'll put a link for that below, and you can find some weaver's cloth there. It's really quite cheap, not expensive at all. I think you can get a yard for $10 or less. But the thing is, some patterns come with weaver's cloth already in them. Here's a pattern I've acquired over time. I don't know if it's available anymore. This is from Buttermilk Basin, and it just says Simplify, and there's a cute little crow in there. And this came with the weaver's cloth in it. There's another way that you can get them. Sometimes the weaver's cloth is in them, but the weaver's cloth already has the design stamped onto it, like this. Okay, and this was a Country Threads pattern, and it looks like this, and this was already in there, and it was already stamped and ready to go. So those are super nice if you can get them stamped, but people aren't doing that as much anymore. They're depending on you to take the weaver's cloth and then get a light board and to trace your design onto the weaver's cloth. It's not a big deal. I have a light box. You can get those at Amazon. I'll put a link for that down below as well. And then you can just lay it on there and trace it just like you trace anything else. Sometimes patterns would come like this. Okay, here's an old one from With Thy Needle and Thread. You can tell it's old from the design, and she doesn't really do a lot of punch needle as much anymore. And this one came already kitted, which is kind of nice. The only thing is I've started to shy away from using DMC, and I've started to only be using Valdani thread or thread that comes on a spool. So speaking of that, I should probably talk to you about thread for a minute. I do use DMC, but I also use Valdani, or thread that comes on a spool that's similar. Like here's a palette of Valdani thread I got. I'll explain to you in a little bit why the Valdani is quite valuable and makes life much easier. I have bought an off-brand of thread, and I'll put a link to that below. I get that from Amazon as well. But these are not variegated, but they're all different colors of green. These are very inexpensive. So I use some of these to like outline a leaf or do something like that, and then I fill in with more expensive Valdani thread. But you can also, if you noticed in the pack, there's a lot of DMC, and you can use a lot of DMC when you do punch needle too. The key to all of it is that you, it's best if you use 8-weight of Valdani thread or 12-weight, or you can use 3-strand. So those are your options if you're going to use like a Valdani type thread. But if you're going to use DMC, then you're going to have to split it, and you're going to have to split it out so that you only use 3 strands of thread at a time. So now that I told you that much, I am going to switch the cameras around, and then I'll give you an overhead view, and you can see what I'm doing when I'm punching. Maybe I'll tell you about the project I'm doing first. Okay, so when I was at the thrift store, I found this pattern, and it had a wad of thread with it. Many of them are fancy flosses, you can see right here. And so I'm going to have to use that because the project was already started. It's a Teresa Kogut pattern. I don't know if it's still available. I paid 50 cents for this, and I got the pattern, the floss, and the piece was already started to be punched, and it was stamped. So that made it very easy. I'm not overly excited about this project, like, oh my gosh, I got to finish that right now, because it's a fall project, but I thought it'd be the perfect piece to frame up and show you how to punch with. So I do want to talk a little bit about this. Okay, this is, you can just use any sort of embroidery hoop that you have, one that has like a catch so that the fabric stays in there quite well, but this is my favorite kind, and I'll put a link for that below. So it sits on the surface, and then when you punch like this, and then you don't have to worry about punching your hand below or punching anything else. I really, really like this. And so I would recommend this. Unfortunately, when I show this to you, it says give thanks, and you can read that correctly. But for me, when I look at this and I'm punching this, this is in reverse image, so this, the S to me is backwards and it looks reverse. And I wish I could show you the right way, but I don't know how to flip the camera so I can show you that this is actually backwards. To me when I look at it, but in the camera it's looking the correct way to you. But anyway, somebody started punching this, and I'll just talk to you a little bit about punching. Typically you start in the middle, so the person did great to do the pumpkin mostly first, and then a lot of times you outline the edge, and that's awesome. And then I'll probably come down in here after I get this pumpkin filled in to go down here and do the lettering. And I'll probably do that 2 wide rather than like 1 wide, and so that the letters show up. But this is going to be a fun little piece. I'll be happy to have it done for fall, and I can start looking for some kind of container to attach it to. I'm kind of excited about doing this one as well. But so now, okay, I think I've got it to you. You need a punch needle, and I use an Ultra Punch, and you need some kind of scissors. And with your Ultra Punch will come a needle threader, and I'll show you how to thread your needle in just a little bit. And you need some kind of pattern or something on weaver's cloth that you can punch, and then you need some kind of frame. As I said, you can just use a simple embroidery hoop if you want to, as long as it holds the fabric taut, because it needs to be fairly tight. You know, right here you can see mine's bouncing a little bit. I might tighten that up just a little bit. But I will flip the camera around, and then I'll be right back. Thanks. We're in. Okay, so there. So I'm here. I've got my piece, and it's loaded onto my frame, and I'm ready to start punching. As I said earlier, this was a piece that I bought at the thrift store. I paid 50 cents for it. I know I did because I still have the tag here. This is the Teresa Kogut piece, and it was called Give Thanks, and it was PN053, and it says approximately 5 by 5 inches. The person that I bought it, when I bought it at the thrift store, it was already done this far. I haven't put any punches into it yet. I'm going to flip it over so you can see the other side, and so it looks like this on the other side. And you can see that the person already started it. And I'm just going to go with what they already started and be pretty content with that. I'm okay with it, and it's looking pretty good. Okay, and so this is the piece that I'll be punching on. I'll be punching on it from this side. This is a look at the pattern. And you can see that the numbers are here, and that tells me which place I'm going to put which color. It's kind of just like color by number. And then there's a chart in here that in the inside here, they give Weeks Dye Works options, and this tells how many skeins you would need, but they also give DMC options. So some of the threads that were sent with the kit, some of them are Weeks Dye Works options, and some of them are DMC options. So I was going to use this DMC, and I'm looking here to see where it needs to go. Okay, so this color would be equivalent to Weeks Dye Works Bright Leaf. It's $4.35, and I'm going to be filling in these, or doing these small leaves right here. I'll do a couple of them just to show you how this works. So this is the DMC. I'm pulling it off. Oops, it's not coming off cleanly, is it? I don't think that the person before me took it out quite right. So I have a length. I don't really know how long it is. I don't want it too long, but I want it long enough, and I'm just gonna clip that off. When you punch needle, you need to separate the strands. And so you're only gonna be using 3 strands at a time. So I'm working on separating these. Okay, I gotta double count this. Yep, so I've got the 3 strands here and I'm separating those. Sometimes they don't separate too easily, but if you just work it, you can get them separated. If you'd be using the fancy floss like the Weeks Dye Works, you would be separating those threads as well. And so I oftentimes like to use Valdani off the, here I'll grab the Valdani just a second. I often like to use like a Valdani like this, and then I can use this straight off the spool. And so this would be pearl cotton. I believe this is number 8. You can use 8 or 12. I like 8 a little better. You can also use 3-stranded floss, and this would be the 3-stranded floss also from Valdani. And I have started trying an off-brand. This is available on Amazon. This is off-brand. There's less on there. This is not variegated, so you just have to decide, you know, what look you're going for. I am just continuing on with whatever this the person who gave this away to the thrift store, whatever they started is what I'm working on finishing. And I'm just going to use the method that they used when they were stitching it. So, so you have your punch, and this is your needle threader. These are the 2 things that you'll need to get going. I've got my thread here. I'm not like some great pro at this, but I certainly can do it. So, okay, this is how you do it. You have to put this, the corner of your needle or the end of your needle threader, not the piece that has the white, the opposite end. It goes into your punch needle like this, and you slide it through. And then when you get to the end down here, you're gonna take this and you're gonna thread it through the division of the wires right here. Oops, I didn't get both strands through. Just a second. And there it goes. Okay, and then you're gonna pull this, and you can see that it's coming out the opposite edge. And then you're gonna need to thread it through the needle. So you're gonna have to go through the needle here with your needle threader. You can open up this, and then you're going to slide this through there. You're gonna pull, and that will bring that through the little hole. Okay, now when you're looking at the needle, you're going to see that this side doesn't have like an opening. This side has an opening. And you can see that the thread's going down through there. Okay, you're gonna pull the thread from the bottom down here so that you only have about 1 inch left, 1.5 inches or so left. And then you're always gonna work with the slanted part towards you. And the flat part, which is back here, that part is gonna be away from you. Okay. Typically I outline my pieces first. So you're always going to be moving this as to which direction you're going. This is a little bit awkward for me because I am doing this in a way that so that you can see it. It's not my typical way of doing this, so I might be a little awkward. So I'm just going to take it and I push that down, and I'm going to kind of be wary of where these threads are. I'm going to lift up just a little bit, and I'm going to go right back down into that hole. Or, you know, I'm going to push right back into the fabric. You're only kind of moving about, 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch away from your previous punch. As you can see, I'm turning the bottom, and I'm working with that slanted side coming towards me, and I'm just punching, I'm just pushing it down there. And on the other side, so we're on this leaf right here, you can see that it's starting to make these little loops on this side. Okay, so we want those loops to be fairly close to each other. We'll fill in more later, so it's okay if they if they're all not perfect. And so I just up and down like this, and I punch down the full length of the needle. Okay, and remember, I always want that slanting side towards me. And so I'm going to come down and I turn my hoop so that I can keep that slanted side towards me. And then I'm going to go down this outline. And sometimes I keep my other hand here to keep it a little bit more taut in case the fabric in the hoop gives a little bit. Okay, so you can see I got that done. I'm going to come with my scissors and I'm going to snip this piece over here and put that aside. I don't need that. Everything will be okay without that. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go around the center stem of the leaf. And I'm going to go just a little bit further away from that, not too far, but I don't want to get what I'm currently stitching involved with what was previously stitched or punched. Okay, so I'm turning my hoop again because I always want to work towards myself. Okay, now I'm going to turn my hoop again because I want it towards myself. I'm just lifting up, just skimming my needle just across the top of the fabric and then pushing down. In general, some rules about punch needle is to outline the pieces first and then fill in. If there's a line like something like this, an outline, you might want to go over it twice if the outline's in a different color. Down here where it says give thanks, you definitely are going to want to go over those twice. You can see that my little lines of stitching here. Maybe I'll bring that a little closer. And I'm just going to punch along. If for some reason you find out that you punched something wrong, it's okay, because you just lift up and then you pull the thread out of the back here and it pulls out the stitches. And then if you want to start again, you just pull it tight and with no thread gapping, and then you start punching again. This really isn't meant to be like a tutorial, like to show you how. It's just kind of like to show you what punch needle is and just general of how to do it. There are many other videos out there that show more detail, that tell you a little bit more how to do it. You can just see I'm punching away here, trying to get that leaf filled in. And I keep turning the hoop and keeping that open part with the diagonal on it working towards me. I kind of hold this kind of like a pencil. It's this tool. I hold it kind of like a pencil. You can see I'm holding it like a pencil, and I'm working towards myself. And then I'm turning and going right along back side of the stitching. And then like over here, it doesn't need any more fill-in, so I'll just keep working on this side. So I'm just going to turn and go back the other direction. Oh, and I'm out of thread. So the problem, or the thing I don't like about using DMC or Weeks, is that now I have to rethread my needle again. If I was using the Valdani that's in the big spool, then I wouldn't have to rethread the needle. But this is okay because it's probably good for us to show you again how to rethread the needle. So here I go. You can see that just one length of thread did not do that whole leaf. So if you don't use Valdani, you can see that you'll often be threading your needle. And I'll finish that up and do that for this project, but probably if I would have picked the project myself without it already started by someone else, then I likely would have chosen Valdani instead so that I could keep going. I know I will be changing up that inside, what I fill the inside up with, because after all of these leaves are stitched and then the letters are stitched here, then you go back and you'll fill in all of this background. And when you do that, it's really nice to have a variegated color. And I don't want to keep threading and rethreading and doing that all the time. So instead, I am going to just use the Valdani, and I'll probably use a color like this, or there's a variegated color that's like this. I think either one of those would look great to use as the background. And then I won't have to keep threading and then I won't have to keep threading my needle. Another thing is, a lot of people think that the Valdani threads like these are kind of expensive, and they are, but I can get a spool like this, or I can have to buy all of this Weeks Dye Works, which is what they chose for the background color, and I would rather just buy one of these than deal with all of these and having to keep rethreading my needle. But back to threading my needle. Today we're taking this as a good thing that we have to rethread it, because I get to show you again how to do it. So I have my needle threader, I have my tool, and I keep mine set. You can set it to different lengths. I keep mine set at 1. If you do bigger numbers, then it will make the loops of your thread be bigger. So I'm going to again take this needle threader, I'm going to put it into that little slit right there, which I can't see because it's too far away from me because I'm trying to film. Okay, so I slid that in. I'm going to slide it in all the way up to the paper. And then I'm going to come down to this end, and here I can see this end. And here I'm going to thread that through the opening, and so I have that threaded in there, and then I'm going to pull this so that you can see the thread is going through the tool and it comes out this end, and then I'm going to rethread into this little hole here, and I'm going to open this up, and then when it's open I'm going to pull that thread through there. And then I'm going to pull that through, and then now it's threaded. I have to warn you in advance that these little threaders, they're really easy to lose, so you'll have to be careful with that. But now I have this ready to go, and so I'll start punching again, and we're back to this leaf. So to start, I just come right by where I was stitching before, or I was punching before, and I have that little tail, and I just punched in right there, and then I'm just going to go. I'm back to the same method. I just drag my needle over the top just a little ways and then punch down again. Drag, punch, drag, punch, drag, punch. Okay, then I'm rotating this because I'm always working towards me. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to clip this. Hopefully I'll clip it a little closer than I clipped that other one because it's farther away from me and I can't see very well because I'm doing the filming. Okay. So here we go back to punching again. Okay, we've got that clipped. And then as soon as I get the leaf punched, I'm going to flip it over and show you what it looks like. That didn't sound like it punched quite right. And it didn't. See how this just came out right away? So I'm going to pull the end of this thread tight, and then I'm going to start punching again. There, it's working. And I turned again, and I think this is going to be my last pass. And then I'll have this little leaf area punched. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to, if you're done with the thread, what you do. So I kind of put my finger down here and hold, and then I carefully, slowly punch this out and see it released a stitch. So I'm going to tighten that up, and then I'm going to stitch about 2 more stitches and then try it again. I see I push tight and then pull out a little bit, and then I can take my scissors in and I can clip that. So this is the leaf that we punched. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to show you. So you can see that there's some tails here. So we're just going to bring the scissors in and we're going to clip those tails. And this is a normal process to do. There's nothing wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. But the tails just kind of are there because that's where the thread ran out. So this is gonna look a lot better once we get to the point that we're adding this background color in. Then this will all fill in and these leaves will pop out and they won't seem like they're so close together, because right now, like through here, it looks like it's way too close together. I'll turn it this way, you can see a little bit better. But this all looks like it's way too close together. Later on, after this gets punched in, it will look way much better. And I'm wondering if this is one of the person's first projects and they didn't realize that it will look better once we add the background in, and that's maybe why they gave up on the project. But I really like punch needle. You can go to other places online, YouTube, Vanna Pfeiffer I know, and I think Teresa Kogut both have punch needle videos that show how-tos. This was just a quick kind of a thing to tell you more about punch needle. Maybe you got enough from it that you could try it yourself, and maybe you just need to watch a few more tutorials. It's a quick, easy, nice thing to do. It does take up a little space, but just because you have to keep this hoop, but other than that, it doesn't take up a ton of space. And I don't know, I think the end projects are so fun. This one I already put some glue on the back. No, this one I did not put glue on the back yet. I have one over here that I'll grab. I already put some glue on the back. After I'm done with the piece, I put glue on it, and then that will prevent the stitches. If somebody ever messes with this side of it, it'll prevent the stitches from getting pulled out. So that's what I can tell you about punch needle. I'm glad you joined me today. You can always find more information about me and my blog, my cross stitch and my punch needle and my sewing projects. You can see all of them at my blog, joescountryjunction.com. Thanks so much. Bye.